הנני מוכן להעיד עדות ולקרוא קריאה. I am here to give testimony and to issue a call. There are three parts to my talk. Each will be prefaced by a passage from the Torah, from the Chumash. The first. זכור את אשר עשה לך עמלק בדרך בצאתכם ממצרים, אשר קרך בדרך, ויזנב בך כל נחשלים אחריך, ואתה עייף ויגע ולא ירא אלוהים. והיה בהניח אדוני אלוהיך לך מכל אויביך מסביב, בארץ אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך נחלה לרשתה, תמחה את זכר עמלק מתחת השמיים, לא תשכח. Remember what Amalek did to you when you went out from Egypt, when they met you on the way and attacked you from the behind, all those who were weak from behind, the tired and the weary, for they did not fear God. They had no shred of human decency. And when God, the Lord God, shall release you from the pressure from all your enemies around you in the land that God gives you as an inheritance, wipe out the memory of Amalek under the skies. I, 49 years ago, volunteered to go to Israel. I had just finished my undergraduate degree, and in the fall of '74, I went to be a teacher in middle school and a high school in a consolidated school called Shar HaNegev. Shar HaNegev is one of the Moetzot Ezoriyot of Otef Aza, the area around Aza. The kibbutzim that sent their kids to that school were Kfar Aza, Nachal Oz, Mefalsim, Kfar Am, Nirim, places that many of you probably have heard of now, because those are places where a terrible massacre was committed. And many, many people from those kibbutzim were killed, were taken as hostages. The head of the Shara Neva Council was Ofir Libin, and he was always looking for ways to better the lives of the Palestinians in Gaza. He came up with a scheme to provide renewable energy from solar panels for the Azatis, and he even set aside land from the Shara Negev Council for doing so, to set up those panels. He also set up schemes to bring them water and laid pipes along the Gaza Strip so that would be possible. Hamas took the water pipes and turned them into rockets. On the 7th of October, Ofir rushed out of his house with his personal weapon to defend his family, his community, against the Hamas terrorists that came to attack. And he died doing it. His mother's wife, her nephew, and Ofir's son, Lital, were murdered in this incident. I have a doctoral student. His name is Ben Cohen. Sometimes it's hard to get Ben Cohen to get to all the work that needs to be done because he has a second job. His second job is he's been working for quite a while as a entrepreneur, bringing improved agricultural methods to the farmers of Africa. He works in an organization called Cultivate. His partner in that is Shoshan Haran, who has been doing this for many years and has developed improved seeds that allow farmers in Africa to increase their crops by fourfold, fivefold, enabling them to lift them out of poverty. Shoshan Haran and her family were taken captive by Hamas. Her husband was killed. Hamas is not just victimizing us, not just preying on us. They are preying on their own people. When Israel told the Azatis, go south so you won't be in the heart of the battle that's about to take place, they would take the keys from the cars of Azatis that are trying to leave so they couldn't leave. They hoarded fuel that was intended for hospitals. And the hospital that was blown up and there was a whole big brouhaha, that hospital blew up because there was an ammunition depot right next to the hospital. And an errant rocket fired by Islamic Jihad hit that depot, and the subsequent explosion destroyed much of the hospital and killed many of the people inside. The main Hamas center right now is underneath the main hospital in Gaza, and it's there on purpose. For them, it's a win-win. V'lo yirei Elohim. They have not a shred of human decency. Since this war has begun, just this war, 550 misfired rockets have landed within Gaza. Eyal Waldman lost his daughter Adi. When he heard what was going on, he got frantic WhatsApp messages from his daughter. He got in his car, he drove south and looked for her. And he found Adi and her partner's cars riddled with bullet holes, but not any bodies. And he hoped against hope that she was still alive and held hostage. Sadly, they found and identified her body and her partner's body after more than a week. He said that Israel must finish Hamas, finish them, but that we must preserve purity of arms. That's the Israeli way, the Jewish way. The second part of my talk I will bring from Parshat Vayakel. Vayomru el Moshe lemor, marbim ha'am lahavi midei ha'avodam lemlacha, asher tziva Adonai lasot ota. Moses' assistant said to him, the people are bringing so much contributions for the Mishkan that it's more than what we need. And Moses had a call issued to the camp saying, it's enough, you don't need to bring more. As soon as the war was declared, people were asked to donate blood because it would be needed. Within 2 days, they had so much that they were turning people away. I talked with my brother who lives in Modi'in Elit, and which is a Haredi community, an ultra-Orthodox community, and I said, what's going there? He said, people went to give blood and they turned them away because they had more than what they needed. There have been 2,000 young men from the Haredi communities have now stepped up to volunteer to serve in the army. There's a Bedouin driver from the town of Rahat, place I've been, named Yusuf. Yusuf was one of the drivers who brought people to the rave party, the party in nature that was taking place near Kibbutz Reim. And he got a phone call from the people at the party saying, something crazy is going on here, can you come and get us? And he went to get them. And there was someone else from Rahat who did the same. And he gets there, and bullets are flying everywhere. And somebody else says to him, you should get out of here. If you stay here, you're going to get killed. He refused. He went in. He got the 30 people that he had brought the day before, and he got them out. And on the way going out, they found another Israeli woman who was wounded, and he put him into his crowded vehicle, and he got her out as well. Eden was a commander trainer of new recruits at the Zikim training base. And she and a new recruit were at the gate of the base when armed Hamas terrorists started attacking the entrance. She sent the Tiron, who really didn't know how to use a weapon, sent her back into the base to safety and told the other Tiron to send the other commanders to the front of the base, which they did. And then she and the other commanders fought off the Mechablim. She died, but she saved the lives of 100 of her charges. Residents of Arab towns are contributing packages and blood donations just like Jews are. And you often will hear Arab citizens of Israel now say, I'm an Israeli first and an Arab second. My daughter Miriam is a family physician. She's been busy getting equipment so they can have an emergency medical center on our kibbutz Hanaton, in case it gets attacked by rockets or terrorists. Another doctor, Michal, is helping. Michal told me about the efforts to get medical equipment, which is sorely lacking in quantity for both the Army and the civilians. Tourniquets that can be self-applied are in short supply there. Also, they need self-healing gauze for treating large apertures to the abdomen. She had her husband, who was presently staying in New Jersey, go to an Army-Navy store there to buy a bunch of this equipment. And then they gave it to an El Al pilot, who is friends with the family on the kibbutz in Hanaton. And it was in Israel within 48 hours. Until I came here today, I was also on kibbutz Hanaton. I'd been there since the Black Shabbat, the Shabbat of what should have been Simchat Torah, and had been staying so I could take care of my grandchildren, because my daughter, the doctor, and my son-in-law had to work because there was no school, there was no childcare. So I got to know what was being done. One of the things that they did is that they got all of the shelters ready, so there would be a possibility of staying in them if they needed to. They also have been taking in tens of families from all over Israel, from the north, from the south. There are 7 families who are Eritrean refugees who are staying in Sderot. And Sderot is in the area where the rockets are still going. So they came up, and they're also staying in Hanaton. The youth group kids are working with the kids of the Eritrean refugees and the others to keep them in activities and doing things. I'm a member of the Israel Desalination Society, and we have a WhatsApp group. And the WhatsApp group is scrolling now, and much of what it's talking about is what can be done. So one of the things that was on that feed was that they had called up so many soldiers, 360,000 have been called up, that in some bases they didn't really have enough water for the soldiers where they were encamped. Within 2 days, Semyon Braver, who is the manager of the largest desalination plant in Israel, at the Sorek, had his staff line up containers with quarter cubic meter, 250 liters, 500 liters, whole slews of them, fill them up from the plant and get them shipped with his trucks to where they were needed by the Army. The citizens of Mitzpe Ramon are hosting 3,000 residents from Otef Aza, from the region around Aza. Mitzpe Ramon is a small town. 3,000 is like doubling the town's population, but they're doing it. All over Israel, people are coming together from every walk of life, and they have only one question: what's needed? What can we help with? There's another organization called Brothers and Sisters in Arms. They were one of the lead groups. They were called then Achim LaNeshek in the protest against the planned judicial coup. They pivoted in a day, and they have been working tirelessly to provide the needs for the population of Israel. They identified over 12,500 offers to host Israeli displaced persons. They gathered and distributed 30 to 40 tons of food and water. They provided 200,000 cooked meals for soldiers and civilians. They've been cooperating with the IDF to provide missing and needed equipment. They provided 700 medical kits, including 18,000 pieces of medical devices and 1,200 ceramic vests. That is the kind of thing that's happening in Israel today. The attack did not intimidate us. The attack galvanized us. Last part of my talk. ויאמר משה לבני גד ולבני ראובן, האחיכם יבואו למלחמה, ואתם תשבו פה. And Moses said to the members of Gad and to Reuven, will your brothers go to war and you'll sit here? There is what to do. There is what you can do in many, many different ways.
expressions of support to the soldiers in Israel, to write to them. You can have the children write letters to the soldiers. It means a lot. You can give your time based on your profession. Psychologists are badly needed, even to be available on Zoom. There is so much trauma that so many people have undergone that needs to be treated and addressed. Social media experts who can push back against Hamas propaganda and shut down fake news quickly before it can spread. Take advantage of your networks and your existing activities. I'm also an environmental and climate activist in Israel, and when Greta Thunberg came out with her shallow support for Palestine, a post that could be misconstrued as support for Hamas, within a day, other activists and I framed an open letter explaining the damage she was doing, both to addressing climate change and damage to the Palestinians and Israelis themselves. Those of you who might be so inclined can go to Israel now, because right now, many of the people who were helping the farmers with growing their crops, picking the crops, taking care of livestock, they were either foreign workers who left or members of those farming communities who were mobilized for Army reserves. They need help. Everyone needs to advocate. Become well-informed. Speak out. Do not let lies and half-truths go unchallenged. I've already seen that Rabbi Potek has put up a list of places where contributions can be made. There are many. I will send her more that she can also share with you. I will also send to the rabbi a list of sources for information which some of you may already be familiar with, maybe others not, that can also be available to you so that you can stay informed. And I'll finish with just one prayer. Adonai oz li'amo yitain, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Thank you. Shabbat shalom.